obviously a big road trip for us. It's our last before the conference tournament. It's our last games away from home. So all teams here late in the year are trying to build their case away from home, and this is our last 2 games away from home. So we've been playing some pretty good basketball, and hopefully we can keep building on what happened here over the homestand and go up and play well. Obviously got a tall order. Cal has not lost at home, and Stanford plays very, very well at home. So this is never an easy trip, and this year's no exception.
After watching tape of the last game against Colorado, do you ever wonder where that team's been?
No, and people say that. I feel for these guys because it's a really hard-working team. They give great effort. I think you can only ask so much, and we've got some young guys that are learning and growing and developing. And you look at our vets. Tony's numbers are up, Isaac's numbers are up, Bryce's numbers are up. So those vets are. Everything has been increased from last year. So you got a lot of new working pieces there that consistency with new guys is always going to be a little bit of an issue. And so it hadn't been work ethic. It's just been getting in a flow and understanding that don't play off confidence off made shots. To learn to do that at the defensive end, which that's not easy for young guys to learn because most of these guys are the stars in high school and the AAU programs, and a lot of them haven't even had to guard before. So I think we're just getting a little bit more rhythm, and we've only been playing this way for about a month, and so we're starting to hit a guy like Gigi. He's only a month into this thing, where the rest of the guys are nearly 4 months into the thing. So it's not fair to him, but that's the way the cards were dealt, and he's doing a terrific job. Jonah has only been doing his role for really the last month, and I think you're seeing him start playing at a whole nother level. And so that helps, but we've really changed how we've played in the last 3 to 4 weeks, and that's not the guys' fault. It's just kind of the way things were dealt, and I think they're doing a good job. They're working. We had Utah's the only team in our league that's gotten 2 sweeps this year on the road, and we lose to 1 possession and just had a bad 8 minutes to start the second half. That's kind of been, if there's been a consistent theme, we've gone through a 4 to 8 minute window where we've gotten out of character, where I hadn't been turning the ball over. We've done a great job. Our assist turnover ratio has been terrific again. So it's been about either tough shots or the right guys not getting the right shots, time and score issues, a feel of the game of where that ball needs to go type thing, and then not getting defensive stops. I think it's been 4 to 8 minute windows those have affected us more than anything.
That's what the question more was about, not effort, but just that 8 minute lull against Utah.
Yeah,
for example.
and I think it's obvious. Those things are obvious.
40 minutes of good basketball.
Right, and the reasoning. I wish I could tell you. It's not like I didn't Newt Rocky him. At halftime of the Colorado game. We're pretty consistent in how we go about doing things. Sometimes they need to be chewed a little bit, sometimes applauded for what they did in the first half. I thought the Utah game, not only the first 8 minutes of the second half, but I thought we blew some opportunities in the first half. The game ended up tied, and I think we could have been up 6, 7, 8 points at half, and we didn't take advantage of that. And when you do that against a really good, experienced team, 3 seniors and a lottery pick probably, that makes it hard on you. You've got to take advantage when you get those opportunities, and we didn't in that game.
How do you take the Colorado game and build upon this down the home stretch?
Well, you just stay consistent with what we're doing. We're not making a lot of changes. What we do defensively, we're just trying to get better at that in practice, and what we're doing this week offensively is just, it's not like we're putting in new offenses. We've had 3 to 4 weeks now here with this kind of style again. It's just going through the reps. Teams guard you differently, so how are they going to guard ball screens? So you work on taking advantage of ball screen stuff. How are they going to work on how they defend screens? Like how are they going to defend Isaac and Bryce? That's always, those are the 2 guys they're preparing for. I think the most when it comes to defenses against us. So how do we feel like that's going to do, and what can we do to free those guys up, not just for themselves, but to be able to create offense off and around those guys for teammates, and keep sharing the ball, keep doing. It's starting to become contagious. I think It obviously starts with Bryce, and what his assist-turnover ratio has been tremendous over the last 2 weeks in particular, and it's become a little contagious. I think we're moving the ball, we're getting the ball up the floor a little bit quicker and trying to get into our offense with a better pace. And then defensively, I think it's probably got to be a team we got to change defenses a lot. It's just not a team that I think can just lock in man-to-man and do that for 40 minutes. I think we're going to have to be a team that changes things up.
Do you anticipate Tony sticking in that starting lineup?
Yes. Because again, I'd tell y'all, there's no punishment. There was no discipline for Tony going to the bench or Tom going to the bench now. We felt like playing two centers. Now, I'm not saying one of the things we haven't done in this stretch is go ahead and play the two bigs together. Now, other than the Colorado game, which we ended up not having to do that, we've been in some foul trouble. One or both have been in foul trouble, so we haven't been able to get them both back in there at the same time. So we're not against doing that, but right now I think Jonah's playing at a high level, and we see things that Gigi are doing. You know, he defends well. He's a very good passer. The scoring may take a while for him, and we might be into next year before that really kicks in just because of the amount of time he's missed. But he's doing some good things now too. So I don't know how much we'll do that, but whether it's Tony or Tom, it's not a discipline or a punishment standpoint, but I think going into this game against Cal, it'd definitely be Tony.
What does Cal do on defense that's a little different from other teams in college?
Well, they chase. It's a team that really, they're probably as athletic and as talented as any team in our league. And they're big. They got really good size. You got two centers that are 7 foot. You got Rab that's 6'10", 6'11", who's a great athlete. And then you look at the guards of Matthews and Wallace and Bird and Brown, even Singer at 6'4". They're all big guards. They're all good athletic guards. And so they really just tee it up one-on-one, say you're not going to beat us one-on-one. And that's a great thing to have because you don't see them having to help a lot. And because they don't help a lot, they don't give up a lot of open looks, and they make open looks hard on you. So defensively they've been very good, and I think offensively they hurt you in transition. They hurt you off the dribble drive. A lot of ball screens and hurt you off the dribble drive. So our pick and roll defense is going to be pretty crucial.
Do they look different now than they did earlier in the season?
Well, they've changed just because of Wallace. You know, Wallace was out for that time, and that gave Singer an opportunity that I think in that time they kind of settled down. And now you put Wallace, who's a premier guard in our league, back in their lineup, and Singer coming off the bench. Now you got a Singer who's much more developed than what he probably would have been. I think he's always been a really solid player, but he's gained a lot of momentum and confidence just because his minutes have doubled, tripled since Wallace was out. And now that they're full strength, I think that's how they've changed. But I'm probably not great to ask that because I haven't seen them. You know, we're into February, and it's the first time I've seen them, and the only time I've really seen them on tape is when they're playing teams that we're getting ready to prepare to play.
No, it's always hard to win on the road in conference, but this year seems particularly hard. I think the winning percentage is lower than normal.
Right.
Cal, like you said, is undefeated. Why do you think it's been harder than normal?
Well, because I think top to bottom, this has been the best league, I think in 10, 12, 14 years, in my opinion. I've been out west now for 10 years, and I think top to bottom easily, this is the best the Pac-12's been. There were probably three of the 6 years I was in New Mexico, the Mountain West was getting as many bids to the tournament as the Pac, if not more. And now you're looking at the Pac going to have an awful lot of bids this year. So it's just top to bottom, very, very, very difficult. And I think I'm not so displeased with how we've played on the road. I've said before, I didn't like our Washington State game. I did not think we played well or played hard in that game. It's been the one game that, for whatever reason, we just didn't bring anything. Washington, double overtime loss, that could have went anyway. We played Arizona very, very well. Oregon got away from us a little bit, but we played well at Oregon State, well at Arizona State. We've played well enough on the road. The thing that's been disappointing this year is that we have always taken care of home, and right from the start of the season with Monmouth, we got beat at home. And that's kind of, for whatever reason, we haven't had that demeanor at home that I would like to have, and we've lost some home games I wish we could get back, because if we'd had those home games in the win column, we'd be sitting pretty good right now.
That Monmouth game, I know you guys put that on the board. Is there, at this point in the season, is there any usefulness to calling back that game?
No, not much now. it started something I didn't like because we've gotten more home losses than we've ever had, and that's something that we always take a lot of pride in, especially in this building. With the tradition and history. It's the 50th year of Paulie, so that was a goal of the guys. And so when you lose that first one, boom, you set goals. You don't anticipate the first game ending a long season goal of trying to go undefeated. Like we do every year in here, we try to do that. And conference season last year, and I think you've mentioned it, Zach, there's a lot of similarities to last year to this year, with the exception of we took care of home and we were undefeated in conference season at home. And so though we didn't do the job, we've actually played better on the road this year than we did last year. But the difference is we haven't been able to take care of home like we did last year.
Is that game still on the board, the Monmouth game?
It probably is. Yeah, it probably is, just because when I played my freshman year at Indiana, we lost to Miami, Ohio. And I remember that being on the board all year long. So it's probably still up in there. Some corner. It's not something I've brought up. Big guys, I know I haven't mentioned Monmouth since the first week of the season, so that hasn't been something we've been drilling the guys with. But hopefully it's just those little subtle reminders of the importance of home and protecting home. And, we just haven't done that to the level that I expect us to do.